Come, Nerevar, come. We are all well aware that no one enjoyed Skyrim for the plot, especially for its main quest. We have to thank a certain Enwa at Bethesda for these plot holes, and that Enwa, surprisingly, is not Todd Howard, but a Breton Enwa named Emil Pagliarulo. Hold on, Nerevar, I am looking this up. Emil Pagliarulo. While you might enjoy parts of his speechcraft skills, his writing is rather lackluster for me. A god. How can you write a god? What a grand and intoxicating innocence. Our foremost plot hole, and I would like to extend my utmost gratitude to one Enwa for bringing this oversight to my attention, pertains to the query: how did Alduin ascertain the location of the Dragonborn? It would appear that he has sensed that the Dragonborn yet lives. Still, this is rather problematic, as one wonders why Alduin refrains from pursuing the Dragonborn, even when the aforementioned individual is rendered defenseless by making an attempt to travel to Riverwood. Does Alduin monitor him? Most assuredly not. What a grand and intoxicating incompetence. The second overarching plot hole, and I must commend one Enwa for bringing this oversight to my attention, concerns the blades. Their presence does indeed prove beneficial in resolving the issue with Alduin and his dragon minions, but generally they merely interfere with the Dragonborn's quest by acquiring items and involving them in conflict with the Thalmor. I mean, indeed, Nerevar, the singular competent being in this kerfuffle, is Parthunax, and Delphine decides to shirk the Dragonborn's companionship should he decline to slay the dragon. Esbern, intended to be a wise elder, completely agrees with Delphine and refuses to even consider the aid that Parthunax offers. What was the purpose of their presence in the first place? Not only are they incompetent, but they also cause all of your companions to join their futile, dragon-hunting faction. They were inept in Oblivion and slightly incompetent during my time in Morrowind, but this is on a completely different level. Emil Pagliarulo, pray answer me. What is the point of the blades in Skyrim? The blades should be protecting the mongrel dogs of the Empire and pursuing the Thalmor, but they are too focused fighting friendly dragons, which are only barely stronger than a glorified cliff racer. The petulant Oculatus even replaces them for plot reasons. But honestly, it is mostly due to their incompetence as a faction rather than anything else. The third plot hole is the Skyrim Civil War. Starting with Morrowind, in most main Elder Scrolls games, the protagonist, including you, Nerevar, starts off as the prisoner of the mongrel dogs of the Empire, who end up releasing you and recruiting you for their cause. However, in Skyrim, they decide to execute you with no justice. I have no love for the mongrel dogs of the Empire or the Enwa Nords, but I have even less love for Emil Pagliarulo. Many Dragonborns do not support the mongrel dogs of the Empire, but instead, Dunmer-hating Enwa Ulfric Stormcloak, because the Empire tried to execute them. I mean, seriously, Nerevar, you would have been more inclined to side with me if the Empire wanted to execute you in Morrowind. Oh, but that is not all. In the Civil War, the Dragonborn should have been able to form his own faction, and the battles were supposed to be impressive and meaningful. But what happened instead? Everything was scaled down and retconned, not because it made sense story-wise or gameplay-wise, but because it was easier game development-wise. Even modders made the Civil War more consequential and exciting. What did Emil Pagliarulo do? Gave us a bare-bones conflict, with barely any intrigue, added a few lines about Thalmor's influence on both sides, and a peace conference on High Hrothgar that only lasted 10 minutes and temporarily halted the violence, which will probably be explained through a dragon break in the upcoming Elder Scrolls game, whenever that comes out. Ooh, look. Tension! Oh, is Ulfric a Thalmor asset? Or is the Empire a Thalmor asset? Or are they a Thalmor asset? Or is the Thalmor asset? Let's add these twists without any depth, or without answering the important questions. Is this how he honors the sixth house and the tribe unmourned? That's it. I am going to unleash my wrath. I can no longer tolerate this incompetence, Nerevar.
Open your chakras.
Breathe in and out.
Just open your
Madness, I tell you!
chakras.
Madness!
I am calm. I am calm. Honor the sixth house and the tribe unmourned by raising your thumbs, subscribing to my sermons, and writing on the parchment below. Calm down, Lord Dagoth. The fourth cluster of plot holes is the dragons themselves. Yes, once dragons ruled Skyrim and all that Enwa behavior, they suddenly disappeared somewhere and came back with lackluster explanations. Oh, Alduin, the World Eater. The over-glorified dragon time traveled, and now they all woke up. Also, Akatosh ensured that the Dragonborn was at the right place and time when Alduin showed up to kill him. That mongrel dog of the Empire, Uriel V, coming back with multiple dragons from Akavir made more sense than Alduin randomly appearing due to some Nord Enwa opening some Samurai Jack time-traveling portal into the future. Also, seriously, dragons? It was me, the Sharmat. In Morrowind, Daedra in Oblivion, and even in older games, there were more compelling plot lines. However, they chose to go with dragons when, let's see, Dragon Age, Dragon's Dogma, How to Train Your Dragon, the Song of Ice and Fire series, and other dragon-related fantasy media were oversaturating the market. They chose to make an Elder Scrolls game based on dragons. This reminds me of the popularity of the vampire era and Twilight, where everyone was obsessed with vampires. I am glad the Elder Scrolls didn't cave into that. Oh, never mind. We have Dawnguard for the Enwas with goth girlfriend disorder. Nerevar, I will have to talk about Dawnguard in a different sermon. That is a can of worms that I am not touching for now. Looks like Emil Pagliarulo stayed up to date with trends, but not in a good way. The fifth plot hole I would like to discuss is the Sovngarde debacle. Yes, the Dragonborn defeats Alduin on the throat of the world, and Alduin decides to invade the afterlife, where the greatest dragon slayers of Skyrim live. First, I cannot believe these Nord Enwas have an afterlife of their own. And they worship Shor or Lorkhan and wait for his return or something. His seat is empty, even though it is obvious that I was in possession of the heart of Lorkhan. Anyhow, Sovngarde has its inconsistencies. However, when Alduin is defeated, and he can be defeated by the rest of the Dragon Slayers, without the Dragonborn's aid, by the way, or by a single strike from the Mehrunes' razor, his soul is not absorbed by the Dragonborn because, plot twist, he is different than other dragons, and his soul went to Akatosh, presumably, or somewhere else. Or he is still alive somewhere and has not died. Subverting expectations. That was one of the most lackluster endings in Elder Scrolls history. The payoff is anticlimactic and boring. I mean, seriously, Nerevar, Alduin is gone, but the over-glorified cliff racers keep attacking towns and cities, as if nothing has changed. What else do you expect from the writings of Emil Pagliarulo? Well, Nerevar, these are the top 5 plot holes in Skyrim's main quest. I will be going over plot holes in other faction quests and DLC quests in Skyrim and other Elder Scrolls games. Certainly, Emil Pagliarulo will surprise us with his writing prowess. Honor the sixth house and the tribe unmourned by subscribing to my sermons, raising your thumbs, and writing on the parchment about the plot holes you have noticed down below. I would like to thank all 6th House members and patrons, the adoring fan, Connor Runda, as well as the current Sharmats of the Earth Realm, Dane Schneider and Tanya Davis.